I have the pleasure this morning of introducing to you Professor Kokad, a distinguished scholar, expert on assessment and healthcare in India. Currently, he's the VC of KLE University. It is a grade A accredited university in India. He has been a VC of several other universities in India, author of numerous books, a recipient of a couple dozen international awards on his work, a scholar, a gentleman, a real specialist, first pharmacist to be a VC in India. So he wears lots of hats. We're delighted and honored that he's here today. And as our final presenter at the conference, am I wrong? Excuse me, next to the last presenter, forgive me. Let's welcome Professor Kokad.
Dr. Larson, chairman of this session, and fellow delegates. At the outset, I wish to thank Dr. Ninat and Dr. Burke for giving me this opportunity to make a presentation from this podium on a topic which is very close to my heart. I am the lone representative from India. I have been attending Agile conferences for the last 3 years. I congratulate Dr. Ninat and all his colleagues for providing excellent visionary leadership to this movement and also providing a very interactive platform for academic deliberations pertaining to institutions of higher learning. The topic that I have chosen today is on quality. I represent a University of Health Sciences. In the state of Karnataka near Bangalore. Earlier to that, I was also Vice Chancellor of 2 state universities. I have observed the quality of education in different disciplines of higher education. And my experiences with the quality that is maintained in the institutions of health sciences is slightly different. The university has been accredited with A grade by National Assessment and Accreditation Council, which is the only statutory agency in the country for accreditation of institutions of higher learning, and NAAC is also the member of INCAW, International Network of Quality Assurance in Higher Education. I had good fortune of being the chairman of the peer teams which visited a number of institutions. Taking clues from all these my experiences, I thought I should make a presentation of mine on the quality considerations pertaining to teaching, learning, and evaluation. This is my university. Quality is the essence of professional education, and the process of teaching, learning, and evaluation is its lifeline. What is observed in case of health sciences across the globe is that the health education, mostly the medical education, is urban oriented, doctor-centric, technology-driven. The environment of medical education needs to be both nationally sensitive and globally competitive. In my university, we have the faculties of medicine, dentistry, nursing, physiotherapy, pharmacy, and Ayurveda, the indigenous system of medicine. And what we see is the requirements of quality in medical and dentistry are entirely different from the requirements in other areas of health sciences. It was in the year 2005 in India, National Knowledge Commission was established by the Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh under the chairmanship of Dr. Sam Pitroda, who is a non-resident Indian from Chicago. And this National Knowledge Commission has exhaustively surveyed the status of higher education in the country. The survey was carried out for all types of educational systems, including medical sciences. And this survey was very open, very transparent, participative, and inclusive of all the views expressed by the stakeholders. And based on this survey, it has been observed and suggested that there should be national exit examination for medical courses at the end of 4.5 years of study. We have 10 plus 2 plus 4.5 years after matriculation, and it has been suggested that the students coming out of different institutions should be once again made to appear for an entrance and an examination, exit examination, which will be common for all the graduates of the country. And this examination can also serve as the postgraduate entrance examination. There is a total revamping of CME. Based on distance learning, there should be compulsory recertification process every 5 years. Evaluation should be by credits earned through continuing medical education programs, and ICT be used extensively to provide CME at the convenience of the learner. 5, there is a need to have paradigm shift in health education and services in India. And that may be so with many other developing countries too, especially in the Asian continent. There has to be more focus on public health. Our problems of public health are entirely different from the problems that are existing in USA or European countries. We have an entirely different type of environment, especially in South Asian countries. There are a number of epidemics which are yet to be conquered. We have in our medical education or dental education or other health education a system that has been adopted from USA or European countries, especially in countries like ours, Commonwealth countries. We have followed the traditions from the United Kingdom. We are ruled by Britishers. And whatever was the course content that was framed by Britishers in United Kingdom, that was adopted, and later on some changes were made. The requirements of public health in United Kingdom are entirely different from the requirements of public health in India and many other Southeast and South Asian countries. There is a need to strengthen the primary healthcare system in the country. The education is urban oriented. Rural population is ignored. Now it has been emphasized that each medical college should at least have 3 primary health centers exclusively run by the university. In addition to that, it is also mandatory that a student should spend minimum of 6 months in rural areas. If they are opting for post-graduation on some concessional fee or post-graduation while they are in service, they are required to give a bond that after their post-graduation they will serve at least for 2 years in the rural area. In order to ensure that the education becomes more rural oriented and more public health centric, the curriculum had to undergo a rapid metamorphosis in recent years, and that was one of the recommendations of National Knowledge Commission. In addition to this, of course, there has to be an effective control of epidemics and newer dreadful diseases. The education should be care-driven, rural-oriented, and equitable health services. Understanding of adverse effects associated with multiple drug therapy and overdose of medicaments. It's a fact that the doctors of today, the undergraduates, are not given proper coaching, proper training on the adverse effects of multi-drug administrations. There is a long list of medicaments that are prescribed, which perhaps, if taken more than 2 or 3 at a time, can cause adverse drug reactions too. So there was a need felt that this particular component of medical sciences should be strengthened. There should be also consideration of pharmacoeconomics. The price of the drug, it should be cost effective treatment. And the most important is pharmacovigilance, the compliance of drug administration. What happens after the phase of marketing is over? How the drugs are complied with the patient. And there is no systematic orientation given to the undergraduate doctors on this particular aspect of pharmacovigilance. And there is also need to strengthen the course content on bioavailability profiles of drug formulations. Number of drug manufacturing companies are coming out with different brands of the same ingredients, same medicaments. But it's not necessary that all the formulations will have the same efficacy. The quality of the formulation definitely ensures variation in the drug absorption and also the variation in its effect. So the science pertaining to this bioavailability of drugs is also required to be incorporated in the curriculum of undergraduate students. Steps in process of education can be broadly on following lines: vision and mission. Am I right? I'm on this. Is it vision and mission? Formulation of aims and objectives, planning and execution of teaching, learning, including self-improvisation skills for teachers and students, planning and implementing a scheme of evaluation to measure outcome of learning and to determine quality of education imparted. This was about the curriculum, teaching and learning process. But the quality of curriculum that is implemented in the institutions cannot be properly assessed if there is no systematic examination tool. used for the purpose of assessment. There has to be a component of testing, examination, evaluation, or assessment. Teaching without testing is like cooking without tasting. Why? Why the evaluation is required? Evaluation determines whether the determined educational objectives have been achieved or not. Evaluation identifies the areas of weakness or strength helpful in correcting or developing a system of education. Evaluation also determines quality of education, that is quality control, imparted to the students. And the most important thing is evaluation facilitates process of quality assurance, process of maintaining quality, desired level of quality in the education. It is true that excellence is never an accident. It is the result of sincere efforts and skillful execution and vision to see obstacles as opportunities. Quality measurement is based on certain criteria. The most important is the input factors in terms of institutional assets. The process factors like teaching or learning innovations, the quality of teachers, the recruitment of teachers, the training of teachers, the quality of the teaching by the teachers, quality of the research that has been undertaken by the teachers, quality of teaching and learning innovations that have been brought in the system of education by the teachers. Teacher is an important tool. Teacher is an integral component in maintaining the quality of the education. If the quality of the teacher is poor, the institution is bound to suffer. A teacher has to teach first. Teaching has to be his priority, but in addition to that, teacher in professional courses is expected to conduct research, both basic and applied type. Maybe the requirements of funding for basic research are more, but applied research is certainly not that difficult. And there are a number of international agencies which provide a lot of funding for applied research. We in our university, which has more than 510 teaching faculty members of medical college alone, get a lot of funding from National Institute of Health, WHO, our own Indian Council of Medical Research, and many other agencies. So there is no dearth of funding for applied research in medical sciences. I am here today in Niagara Falls, and my other colleagues are attending an annual meeting of NIH in Washington, and we are getting funding from NIH regularly for these applied activities. Then there should be transparent governance, and academic autonomy is very, very important. And academic autonomy is given to the universities. It is up to the universities to make use of this autonomy very, very effectively. It so happens that the leader is a docile person. Leader is very inactive. Leader is uninspiring. And the leader doesn't bring change in the system. So there is a need to have a vibrant leadership at the helm of affairs at the university or institution of higher learning. And the outcome factors of quality measurement are alumni reputation, social appreciation, and stakeholder relationships. These are some of the reforms. Oh. These are some of the reforms which can be very easily made applicable to medical education or health education. And we have done it at your university for the last 5 years, and these are giving us the desired results. Introduction of multiple choice questions, objective structured practical examination, objective structured clinical examination, especially while handling the clinical material, constructed a response essay type test, simulation test, assessment of acquired skills using checklist wherever applicable. These are the reforms that we have worked out for our medical sciences and dental sciences. Some of these reforms may not be possible in other institutions of higher learning, especially in science or social science, because there is no component of clinical examination in these branches of education. What's more important? To work for excellence. We have to aim at excellence in higher education. Success is a measure decided by others. Satisfaction is a measure known to us. Let us keep on working to our satisfaction, leaving others to measure our success. Our satisfaction is very, very important. If we are satisfied with the efforts that we have put in to ensure quality of education is imparted in our institutions, I think that's sufficient for us. And let others find out what is the lacuna that is existing in our system. Let others point out that these are the negative points, these are the weaknesses in your system. We may have to undergo the process of introspection. And the most important thing while maintaining the quality of education in teaching, learning, and evaluation is to ensure that we are never happy with the quality that we are maintaining. We should not always consider that the quality that is imparted by our institutions is the best. It is an ever-growing process. It is a process which is always continuous. And we should not try to create hurdles in this process of quality enhancement. If we try to create certain obstacles in this process of quality enhancement, we are likely to be thrown out of the system. Survival of the fittest is applicable to us too in higher education. We must be always ready to change our strategies to attain something more in terms of quality of teaching, learning, and evaluation. Thank you very much.